What's up, Arizona Wildcat diehards? I've got an important announcement about our show, and then I'll make a few comments about the team, and we'll leave it at that for today. Coming today, Wildcat Fanalytics, on behalf of Mike and myself, to let you know we're going to take a pause from the show. Obviously, those of you who are ardent subscribers have noticed that we haven't put a show out in a while. And the reason why is because it's a challenge overall for both me and Mike to prioritize the time it takes to create the content, but also to then produce it. So on top of that, Mike wanted me to pass along that he's had a couple unexpected challenges that have pushed an already overflowing life into just a whole reprioritization. So he just does not really have the bandwidth to do it right now. But he didn't want to give up on it. He's like, I love doing it. I don't want to stop. And I feel the same way. So we just, at some point, and that point is now, had to kind of make a declaration so we didn't keep ourselves and you awesome folks in limbo. We love our Wildcat community. We love diving into all the fun, tasty layers of, basketball and culture and being a sports fan. We hope to continue it. But right now, we're going to have to just take the pressure off and say it's going to be a pause. Highly recommend if you haven't heard of these other folks, most likely if you've heard of us, you've heard of these folks, please check out AZ12 podcast. It's co-hosted by Mike Luke and Jason Shear. Those guys, entertaining, insightful duo and two of the best, most enthusiastic Wildcat fans that you'll know. And they have inside intel on the team and recruiting and all that good stuff. Wildcat Country, if you're familiar with those guys, they do a nice job. Wildcat Scoop podcast with Jason and Shelby Shear. They do a lot of really good in-depth pregame and post-game stuff. Bear Down Ballers. I don't know if AJ Bramlett and co are still doing that, but you could probably find that and others. Please support that. Wildcats unify. Let's get this team to, you know, let's get this team to the place that we have been waiting for, some of us for many, many years. And thanks for your support of our little experiment here. So many of you have been encouraging and just sent really beautiful notes of yeah, just your excitement about what we're doing and Mike and I both really appreciate that. And we want to continue it. The truth is, we've got visions to do this at a much more polished level than we have been able to. We've been, as you can probably tell, just sort of like shoestringing it with like me just producing, putting the videos and screen sharing, and we're kind of like looking at a little bit of numbers, but to do what we really want to do, it takes time, as those of you who get into the data analysis can understand. So here's the exciting ask that I'd have. If there's any one of you out there who's really interested in the kind of statistical analysis that we do and the video analysis and just, the curiosity and question asking that we do, if you're drawn to anything that we're doing, what Mike and I have talked about is bringing on a third person. And that third role could be, at the minimum, it's got to be someone who's willing to sort of like construct data analysis toward a given question. Each show we kind of look at like what do we see, what do we think is important, what are we interested in looking at, and then to construct sort of all the information that we can around that. We would love to bring someone in who is kind of already doing that on their own and likes doing that and has fun doing that and could take, an hour a week to just look at data and share with us. If that's you and you're interested in something like that, please find a way to message me and we'll have a conversation and see if that makes sense to do. Also, if that's you and you want to do that and then also want to be a part of the show, we welcome that as well. That if that happened, Mike has been really enthusiastic about keeping it going. So it's just too much for me with my priorities to do all this by myself. And it's just not like I could put something together, but it's, as you've seen in some of those shows, it's just like not the same without Mike's brilliance and just help in doing some of the research and making some of the points. If you're someone who wants to record these segments together, that'd be awesome. So we at least need someone who's like a data enthusiast researcher behind the scenes person. But if you wanted to come on the show as well, that would be amazing and maybe would even give us a chance to keep it going. So message me for that if you're that person, and we'll figure out if that's something we want to try. So yeah, Wildcat Fanalytics on a pause, hopefully coming back soon. And Mike's doing okay, but he's going through some unexpected curveballs as life throws us all from time to time, and yeah, send him all the love. So let's move on to Arizona basketball, and then I'll say goodbye for now. I'm just like many of you, super excited about the shift into Big 12 play. First of all, just every game super intense, well well attended crowds, enthusiastic student sections, even despite the holiday break. Imagine what it's going to be in a week or so, and three really gritty wins. Super flawed. Our team continues to be. I think I just have to adjust to understanding that like this is not a title contending roster most likely, and yeah, just kind of let that go and get back on board. What has been really fun for me at least is I think in Tommy's commentary over the last couple of years, noting that he hasn't fought for the culture of the team and the program. I do see us making strides in that this year. This team has played maybe more consistently hard than certainly than last year and certainly than 22. Um, Not perfect, right? But I think where they've struggled is they've been playing hard in different directions. And you can see some of the cohesion starting to happen. I think it's amazing when you think about Tommy and those of us who've been like, is this the guy? Because he went through a patch there. I think this, if things go well and he gets to a breakthrough moment or he continues to have higher level success in the years to come, you could probably look back at the 5 games following the UCLA loss. And even that UCLA loss, I saw progress and we had a really good chance to win that. But in the 5 games since then, could have been the most critical stretch of Lloyd's career. Could end up being that. We'll see where he goes, right? But if you're drawing that narrative out in a heroic sense, wow, he needed these games. Did anyone need these games more in Arizona history than these 3 Big 12 games? Um, so what do I like? I think the ball screen coverages are getting more connected. I think our defense looks a little more coordinated. The rebounding and the commitment to physicality looks improved. Look, I mean, I'm trying to be objective. Cincinnati missed some open threes. West Virginia missed some open threes. Um, we were due some of that in the luck factor. I think before Samford, we were 361st in the nation in luck, however Ken Palm equates that. But you can kind of feel it when you watch games, banked threes at the end of shot clocks, and like the ball just, we had a stop against Cincinnati where I thought our defense was fantastic, and it was so good that we raked the ball from a guy who was totally trapped on the baseline, Skillings, I think, and then he somehow recovered the ball, and it actually helped him regain his dribble, and then he made this ridiculous spin reverse layup that, was like a 20% shot and should have never happened. There's been a lot of that with Arizona this year, and so, that's a tiny part of the pie when we look at the whole pie in terms of why we are where we are. But it's something that's hard to overcome when you're already struggling. And I think we were due a little bit of that chance starting to favor us a little bit. So I'm also going to give us credit for like three open threes aren't as makeable when you're disjointed and you're feeling the pressure defensively. And that's what we keep calling for with our coverages, regardless of what we do. Let's make it uncomfortable for the other team. And so I'm hoping that some of the shooting percentages from particularly Cincinnati and West Virginia are a result of just a better concerted effort around our defensive intensity. People are going to make shots, but can we continue to like really be tenacious and physical? The rebounding against West Virginia was maybe the highlight of um, yeah, of any systemic element that we've been looking at. Certainly individual highlights. Um, and I think the thing I want to say about the offense, which is kind of staggering to me, is you got a team loses Mo Krivas, right? The whole offense and Tommy's offense is built around post touches and easy twos. And basically, like, here's your gravity for the offense starts with your five. And when you have a five like Krivas, you know that's going to be the goal. Even with Balo, we had that with Tubelis and secondarily Koloko that first year. So here's his guy, right? His guy goes down. You've already got a team that is one of the worst three-point shooting teams in Arizona memory so far. I do think we're going to come up. I think a lot of that's been variability and disjointedness that will start to even out. But still, we're not going to be an elite three-point shooting team. Um, we know that. But how many offenses in this, how many coaches could take offenses with basically no post game and are also terrible three-point shooting team and be a top 10 offense? That's what he's done. So give Tommy a lot of credit, give the guards, especially Jaden Bradley, a lot of credit. He's somehow constructing a top 10-ish offense with no three-point shooting and little to no post offense. I mean, against West Virginia, we had like, I don't know, like three post touches and like I can't remember one that resulted in a bucket. We had what we're doing is we're playing outside in, we're getting into the paint with our guards, and then we're creating paint like rim baskets and rim opportunities, but that's not like early duck ins, high lows, and just straight back to the basket post touches, which our offense is predicated on. We're getting almost none of that. And when Awaka gets one, it's normally he's just 6'8", he's undersized. I know he had one last night and he got blocked twice in the same possession. I think Henry's getting those short roll rim attacks, right? So we've adapted the offense, and that's really been key to unlocking this next level of efficiency is using Henry in that short roll. And to an extent, Awaka's made a couple positive plays, but he's not as good for sure. Henry's much better at processing the coverages and then making reads and particularly passing. But Henry can make the floater and he can finish at the rim off of the short roll in the middle of the floor and on the weak side. Um, that's huge, but it's totally changed from like get Balo or Krivas established in the block or Tubelis or Townsend and get an early hit ahead. We hardly have any of those, and yet we're a top 10 offense, and we can't shoot the three. That's incredible. We are. I've got Torvik open. Um, per Bart Torvik right now, who's got he likes us. We're 11th overall. We are the 14th best offense in terms of overall adjusted efficiency. Um, our effective field goal percentage is 69, which isn't great. But really, our offensive rebounding has carried us. We're seventh in the nation in offensive rebounding percentage. Uh, so we're cobbling it together, and we just beat three top 20 defenses in a row, and we scored, we averaged about 79 points a game doing it after losing, you know, probably our cornerstone offensive player, depending on what you think about Krivas. Tommy was going to try to use him that way, for better or worse. So that speaks to some pretty high coaching adaptability. Um, so as somebody who's been more critical of Tommy this year than in recent years myself, I'm impressed with that element of it. Look, I know we're going to lose some games. I said at the beginning of the year, 13-7 in the Big 12, the way it was shaping up was going to be pretty good. Um, Starting off 3-0, I think that gives us a chance to get there. The tough portion of our schedule is really the back 10. And there's gonna be tough games, right? I mean, but 13-7 would be awesome. Um, 2 weeks ago, I don't think anyone would have thought that was possible. I don't know. Maybe there's more optimists out there. So, um, I don't really want to talk about individuals. That's done a lot, but big props to all the guys are working hard, and many of the guys that we need to make developmental jumps are doing so. And, the more Carter Bryant, look, first of all, I want to say about Carter Bryant, he's awesome. And I said a few weeks ago, he's coming, he's close. If you watch him on defensive possessions, he's still struggling to understand certain rotations. And I think that's part of why he doesn't play. I know there's a lot of malice toward Trey Townsend, and rightly so. He does do a better jobs than what I've seen in terms of most possessions in rotations. And I think once Carter gets there, he's clearly the better, you know, he's got the better tool set. He's 18 and he's learning. But the more we can use Carter and Henry, and the more we can create efficient offense with the guys we have, uh, you know, we're gonna be a fun team that can come in and sort of be a disruptor instead of being the hunted. And that's kind of fun. So I say, as Arizona fans, at least for myself, I'm gonna try to enjoy that. Yes, I hold a standard for the program where we get back to being, a title contender. I don't think we're that this year, but I'm gonna have fun with it. Hope we sign some of the guys that we want to sign, and let's get after it next year. But super encouraging start to the Big 12 season. Keep it rolling on Saturday with Central Florida. Got a chance to I think that the only game that we will be expected to lose in the next several will be at Texas Tech, and I would expect us to lose that, but that's okay, especially if we win these next two at home, and if we can beat Oklahoma State on the road. That's a hell of a start, and then we got to dig deep and see if we can grind out some of the. That's when the big boy games get started. So thanks again to all of you listeners and subscribers. Um, keep being Wildcat fans. We really hope to see you again soon and to be doing this at the level that we want to be. Thanks for listening and giving us a chance with all the content out there. And again, if you happen to be one of those people and you think you jive well, send me a message. And we even talked about before this, Mike and I had talked about bringing on a third person. This is all us. We don't have sponsors. We don't, we pay to do this. So it's just somebody, if they're like that and they want to spend their time looking up fun stuff about the cats, then you're our person. And we'd love to meet you. Until then, bear down and back the A, and let's go Wildcats.